Welcome back to the station, Kentucky's conservative outpost. You're watching Kentucky's only locally produced news and commentary program that focuses on things from a conservative perspective. So we hope you enjoy this. Our goal is to eventually be maybe the Fox News of Kentucky. I don't know, or just something that's something no one else is doing. So we're glad you're part of this and hope you get something out of it. So we're going to continue the discussion tonight on the mayor's race, which we believe is the most consequential mayor's race in our lifetime. With what Louisville's been through, it's people are now, concerned and paying attention to safety issues, to the way their city is ran, policing issues, and so we thought, why not get someone from that world that's living that day to day, and have them comment on some of these issues from that perspective. So we reached out to the FOP, and we have the press secretary for the FOP of I think Lodge 614. It's David Muchler. Muchler. There we go. Dave Muchler is online with us, and so we want to bring him in on Skype. But I forgot to introduce my guest here as well. We have Josh Crawford with the Pegasus Institute, and Jim Waters with the Bluegrass Institute. Two men that are smarter than me about these issues, so we're going to let them take a lot of their questions, or handle a lot of the questions. But Dave, thanks for coming on. So you're with the FOP, and so what is your role there? You're obviously the press secretary, so you I guess you're the spokesperson for the Fraternal Order of the Police, which is what is it? That's a police union, right? That's not part of the city government. That's not part of it's an organization of the police, correct? Is it?
Correct. It's an organization that's not part of city government. It's basically police officers representing police officers. We have about 360 or 70,000 members nationwide in the FOP, and most states in this country have a state FOP organization. Then is followed by local lodges like 614 that represents local Metro police officers, and other lodges around the state that represent the police organizations and municipalities where they work.
Oh, terrific. So you're going to bring an interesting perspective to this race. So obviously we're talking about the mayor's race tonight, and I think the most important issue, or I guess the most prominent issue in the campaign, is public safety and policing, and as it relates to what we've all been through the past few years in this city. So the police have undergone a lot of demoralization, a lot of criticism. There's been a lot of retirements. I think we're having some recruiting issues now. We have a new police chief that's, I think, done an admirable job. Josh has convinced me of that she's done an admirable job of trying to fix some of those issues. But still, the police chief works for the mayor, and we're voting for mayor. And so we need to figure out what the next mayor is going to do in these issues. So Dave, before we before we have any more comments on, we're going to play a clip from the last mayor's forum. And Evan, can you cue this up for us and tell us what this clip's about? So Dave, did you hear that question? Okay.
I'm having a little trouble picking him up. I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, very good. Evan, I'm going to field that question right after this clip. So go ahead and play the clip, and we'll get back to that question. But we are going to get that.
This question first is for you, Mr. Greenberg. You've both talked about the importance of fully staffing LMPD. How do you do that, and how do you pay for it?
Sure. I believe we should aspire to have the best police department in America. To me, that means the most trained, the most trusted, and the most transparent. We need one focused on community policing that does have a full staff of 300 more officers that are working with neighborhood leaders, members of the clergy, medical professionals, formerly incarcerated individuals, neighborhood leaders. Anyone who wants to be a part of the public safety solution should be working with our police department to prevent crime from happening on their block, in their neighborhood, in our city. We can do that by not just paying more, but also ensuring that the police have the support of the mayor, of city government, and that we use very proactive approaches to recruit more folks to our street. This is a very different approach than Bill. Bill talked earlier about who he's going to bring downtown to run in City Hall. Let me be very clear what that translates into. That was Matt Bevin's top police commissioner who he's talking about. I don't believe we need more people from Matt Bevin's administration. That will take our city backwards. We need to move it forward in a new direction to address the challenging public safety solution that we have in our public safety crisis that we have in our community today.
Mr. Deeroff, LMPD.
Okay, so a new direction by voting for the same policies and party that is in there now? That doesn't make any sense.
Is that a new direction from the current mayors? You notice he didn't say anything
He
about
didn't say anything
endorsing
about
the
that.
current administration. so-
Exactly right.
yeah.
So Dave, just hearing those comments from the candidate there, do we have a transparent police department now, or do we need some more work in that area, or what are your thoughts on that front?
Well, look, I think that every police department in this country can work on being more transparent. It's a hard thing to have every single thing that you do every day and be able to be transparent with it. But I think that's the goal when it comes to transparency. But, talking about the most trained police department, we're there. We actually have more hours in our police academy here in Kentucky, in our in-service classes that we have to do annually than any other state in this country. So we have our recruits go through more training than any place else in this country before they are certified to be police officers here. So I think training wise, we are there. We can always have more training, we can have better training, and we can have different training. It seems like in the last number of years, a lot of the training has been around social issues instead of actual police training that involves officers on the street and what they can do to keep themselves and the community safer. So maybe if we had a full complement of police officers, an adequate number of officers on the department, we would be able to do some of the trainings that I think the police officers and the FOP thinks the police officers should be able to be part of. That would definitely make the department, a top-notch department, at least a step up from what it is, where we are right now.
Well, Dave, you just touched on a sensitive topic, I think, to the police department, and that's recruitment. We're losing a lot of folks just from retirement, early retirements, or just people no longer want to be police officers in this city or even nationwide. It's just really, it's an embattled profession in many ways. But so when you look at these two candidates, I mean, which candidate do you think would really help change the culture in policing and or change the willingness for people to step up and be police in this town? Are there policies that either one of these candidates are presenting that would help encourage that in your perspective? Encourage recruiting?
Well, let's be real, first of all, that we are not at a tough time with our profession. Our profession is dying. And if we don't make an effort to fix that now, we're going to have real problems, not just here in Louisville, Kentucky, but all around the country. We have to understand that this is a profession that's absolutely necessary in this country, and we need to ensure that we have good quality candidates that want to do this job. So that being said, if you look at where we're at, we don't need just an experienced mayor. We need a mayor that has had successful experience leading a city, and that, in this instance, is Bill Durham. He's had great experience leading the city of Jeffersontown, and there's a two-pronged approach to recruitment and to retention, and that approach is, obviously pay and benefits is a huge part of that. We have to ensure that in order to recruit qualified candidates, that we're going to have, a pay and benefit structure that people will want to come here to Louisville to be police officers. And then, of course, we have the leadership of the police department, which is directly related to the morale of the police officers that work for this police department. And so clearly, we, through not only our research, but it's very clear that Jeffersontown is a city with a relatively low crime rate, that has a police department where officers want to work there. They want to work for the leaders that are there. And the mayor gives the leaders of that department what they need in order to support the officers that work there. And that's what we need here in Louisville, and we need it sooner than later.
There you go. Well, that's sounds like an endorsement to me. So we'll take that. We'll take that. And we're running short on time, so we're going to go to the next clip. We're going to hear Bill's response to that question, and want to get your comments after that as well. So Evan, let's cue up that next clip.
Thank you. First, let me say that Rick Sanders' integrity and record is beyond reproach. For somebody to cast a dispersion that when he worked for the state, it was anything but great is dishonest and shouldn't be said. He's not here to defend himself, and it's not right. We start talking about policing. What we will have already happening is when J-Town had 2 openings, the money wasn't different because LMPD already raised their salaries. In fact, actually at that point they were above us. We had 100 LMPD apply. That's because leadership matters. They believe in the leadership that will train them properly for de-escalation, get to know the neighborhood, and have the people come back. We need the full force of somebody that really understands what policing is about. I have been a part of Kentucky Law Enforcement Council where I took the certification away from those police officers should not be in policing, but also I understand what it would mean to bring police officers to our community and have them as part of the community, not as an adversary of the community.
Josh, what are your thoughts?
Dave, Bill talks there about the importance of leadership. You mentioned the importance of leadership in addition to pay and benefits as being crucial to retaining high-quality officers, recruiting new officers. What are some of the specific things outside of that sort of pay and benefits question that you'd like to see the next administration take on?
Well, let's real quickly talk about one of the things the bill said regarding leadership matters. Interestingly enough, the Fraternal Order of Police puts on a national seminar every year, and the title of that seminar is Leadership Matters, and that's because it does. And I will also say that, when you're looking at an individual who's been a leader, over the course of time, like Rick Sanders has, I don't think you're going to find a lot of police officers that are going to find a whole lot of fault with the leadership that he has given to the different departments and places that he's been. And it takes someone like that to forge an idea that, look, we want to work here. We have a good leader. Times can get tough, but we're going to make it through because we have someone that can lead from the front, someone that's been there, and someone that's going to support us, not only in words, but in actions. So that is a huge element. If your officers don't have any morale, then what they're doing is they're looking to find somewhere that they can fit in, that they belong, that they will respect the leadership, which is why, you have 100 LMPD officers trying to get hired at Jeffersontown when they have openings over there. And that's not a new thing. It's been going on for quite some time. So leadership is huge, directly affects the morale. We have officers that for a long time have worked for the LMPD in different areas of the city. Some of the tougher areas, some of the areas with more crime. And these are people with seniority. And people ask them, well, why didn't you go somewhere else? Why didn't you transfer? Why didn't you go to a different division? And oftentimes the answer is, I work with great men and women, regardless of where I'm at, and I have great leadership where I'm at right here. So I'll stay, thank you. So it's a huge issue, and something that we have to overcome, because that's, over the course of time, over the last, 10 plus years, that's an issue that has eroded in the police department, the faith in the leadership.
Leadership, yeah, Jim.
Yeah, Dave, great discussion here, important discussion, I think, too. And I guess a question I have, and you guys and Josh and has done a lot of work in criminal justice. I'm not an expert by any means, but I wonder, as a citizen, are we asking our police officers to try to do too much? And also, it seems like it's to the advantage, that there are people who just don't want to accept any authority. We saw people come into this city, during the protest. And so it's to their advantage to keep moving the bar and keep moving the standard. And I would guess that the morale of officers would be heightened by saying, here's what we want you to focus on. We want you to focus on keeping our community safe, and here's the job description, and everybody knows what that is, more so than what we have right now. Can you speak to that? And you mentioned more impact or more attention paid to social issues, and that seems to be a problem too. Is that really the job of our police officers? Are we asking them to do things that we shouldn't be asking them to do?
Well, yeah. So here's the thing: is that a lot of times it's forgotten that what we are is we're law enforcement officers, and we are here to enforce the laws that our legislature enacts. But unfortunately, we are also omnipresent. We are the most visible arm of the government. So we're the catch-all. When there's an issue that nobody knows who to call, nobody knows who can fix it, and right now, they call the police. And we don't refuse runs. We don't refuse calls for service. So unfortunately, we have to do a lot of that, and it does take away from what would normally be considered law enforcement duties. So yeah, are we asking too much? Probably, but it's something that can be done, but we can't do it with a skeleton staff.
Yeah.
We have to have officers that are present.
Well, I just want
can't be 300 short.
Yeah, I want to say how thankful I am and supportive as a citizen of this Commonwealth, and for the work that our officers do. And you have, like in every profession, you have a few problems. But again, taking a scalpel and addressing those rather than a sledgehammer, and just really making things worse and causing a decline in morale, a decline in being able to fight crime. I hope we can get this back to where it should be. As a citizen concerned about the safety, and we're concerned about liberty and property, but if those things aren't safe, if we don't have a policy that protects us, then what good is that?
That's it. If you don't have a safe city, people don't want to live here, and you won't have a city.
Yeah.
Bottom line, people will leave. If your police department fails, if public safety degrades, you no longer have civilization. It's there's the thin blue line for a reason. Because they are the thin blue line between chaos and civilization.
And we had anarchy, pretty much people who supported anarchy.
That's right.
Right.
If it hadn't been for our officers, and they showed great restraint. I think
really
many
did.
times it didn't make the news and media, but they showed tremendous restraint considering what they were up against.
Exactly
And
right.
I'm glad to be able to say that on behalf of our officers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not acknowledging or not ignoring the problems.
That's right. Sure.
Not pushing those to the side.
There are legitimate concerns out
But
there
it's a
about
balanced
policing that
approach. That's
sure.
what we need.
That's right, a balanced approach, and we need professional officers that are trained well with good leadership and leadership that actually understand the need for law enforcement and the reality of there is a criminal element out there that you're going to face, and you have to have strong men and women that can tackle that. We've got about a minute left. Evan, I don't know if you have your mic is turned up and up, but if you could reform that question real fast and get that back out there to Dave, but get right up on the mic there.
Right. So Dave, this is it's obviously a race about public safety. So in a race about public safety, why did the FOP in the end choose to endorse Adira over Greenville?
Well, what we need is we don't have time to see if something will work out. We have a candidate who has, over the last 12 years, shown that his leadership skills are definitely exceptional when it comes to leading a city, not only in all the things that you have to do, in the operation of a city, but in the law enforcement capacity, hiring the right people, having the right leaders in place in the police department that does a good job for that city. Crime is relatively low, and citizens enjoy the fact that they have a police department that is there, that's present, that's fully staffed, and is ready to protect and serve them. And we need that right now in Louisville, and that's what Bill Durf offers right now. And so, that's something we want to capitalize on, immediately, if not sooner.
Well said. Well, Dave, we want to thank you for being on the show and bringing your perspective. We just want to encourage viewers at home, you need to vote this election. If you live in this town, this is the most important mayor's race you'll ever vote for in your lifetime. Vote. Pay attention to these issues and get out there and vote. And so there we go. So, well, thank you for watching the station, Kentucky's Conservative Outpost, and we want to thank our guest, Dave Muchler with the FOP. We thank Jim Waters from the Bluegrass Institute. Thanks, Jim, for sitting in at the last minute.
Great to be here.
You appreciate it. And Josh, thanks for sitting on this extra segment for Josh Crawford with the Pegasus Institute. And look these guys' websites up online. They have great columns, great work that they put out each week. If you're really interested in what's happening from a conservative perspective and from a policy standpoint in this state, these are the guys to follow.
BIPS.org. I need to say it or I'll get.
Yeah, go ahead.
BIPS.org. BIPVS.org.
There we go. What's your website?
PegasusKentucky.org.
.org.
Kentucky
Okay.
spelled out.
Very awesome. Thanks for watching tonight, and we'll see you next week.